Hello and welcome to another video on using Windows with a screen reader and a screen reader to navigate the Windows environment. Today we're going to focus on the system tray, and more specifically we're going to focus on showing the hidden icons area of the system tray. As in all of the other videos, I will be utilizing JAWS for Windows as the screen reader to access this area, but please remember that you can use any Windows-based screen reader that you are comfortable with, or even no screen reader at all, since the commands and processes that we will be talking about are completely Windows-based and are all Windows commands. So let's go ahead and get started. As a review, the Windows system tray is located in the lower right-hand area of the screen. It's physically sort of part of the taskbar, which is why you'll hear it say taskbar when I navigate there, but really it takes you to the system tray. The system tray might look a little different based on how your computer is set up compared to how my computer is set up, so there might be some small differences. The first thing you'll hear when we navigate to the system tray using Windows plus B, Bravo, is it's focused on Show Hidden Icons. This area shows the icons for programs that are running in the background. As we talked about in a previous video, these programs are necessary to run in the background, but you don't necessarily need to have them in your face all the time. They don't need to be in your tab order. They don't need to be on your taskbar. They do need to be accessible, though, in case you need them. They're often things like your firewall, your security, your screen reader in many cases are here as well. Let's take a look at how that looks for us. So let's go ahead and press Windows key plus the letter B, Bravo, to get down to the system tray.
Windows B taskbar, show hidden icons button. To activate, press spacebar.
So we're focused on the Show Hidden Icons button. We can activate that with spacebar or enter. I tend to default to enter just out of habit, but either one will work. I'm going to press enter to open this area and explain a little bit about the layout.
Enter system tray overflow window, power automate button 1 of 14. To activate, press spacebar.
This sounds very familiar to what it sounds like when you go to the desktop. And one of the reasons I say that is because it tells you the program that has current focus. It also tells you how many there are. Currently, this is number 1 of 14, and it's Power Automate. However, there is a difference in how the desktop and how this area of the system tray functions. First of all, you do not navigate the system tray area with tab because, as you'll recall, that'll take you out of this area. We will use our arrow keys. But this is navigated in a grid. It's organized in a grid, rather. It's important to hear that and know that. It also tells me, again, how many icons total there are, which are 14, and that helps me keep the place of where I am in this grid. So I have to use my up and down and left and right arrows to navigate this grid. I cannot use first letter navigation to jump around the area, which is kind of a shame, but it's okay because, again, these run in the background and it's not like you access these a whole lot. So I'm going to show you how that sounds. I'm going to press my right arrow.
JAWS for Windows button 2 of 14. To activate, press spacebar. Button 3 of 14. To activate, press spacebar. New quick note button 4 of 14. To activate, press spacebar. Power toys awake left bracket passive right bracket button 5 of 14.
And now I've stopped hitting my right arrow. That means I've gotten to the end of this grid. So I'm on the 5th item. I can't go up, but I can go down.
Dymo label web service left parent user right parent button 10 of 14. To activate, press spacebar.
Now you'll hear this is 10 of 14, and that's because the previous ones we are located at the end of the second row, not at the beginning of the second row. So again, we're going to be using our arrow keys to find what we need. If we know exactly what we're looking for, this is a fast process, but because we're just exploring, this is going to sound a lot slower. Let's just hear a couple of other things that are in this area.
Microsoft Teams button 9 of 14. To activate, press spacebar. Team viewer dash 218824167 button. Dymo quick print button 7 of 14. Power Toys V0.89.
Again, I've gotten to the beginning of this row, so I have to use a down arrow or an up arrow, because if I go up,
Power Automate button 1 of 14. To activate, press space bar.
I've already been in this row, so I can go down.
Power Toys V0.8 Dymo Connect Service left parent user right parent button 11 of 14. Windows Security dash no actions needed. Bluetooth devices button 13. Safely remove hardware and the Dymo label web service left.
Now, interestingly, because that 14th item was the end of that third row, and there isn't a 15th one, it took me to the end of the row above it. That doesn't really necessarily matter, but it's kind of important to know if you're thinking about how the layout looks. Another thing that you can do in this area is each one of these icons has more options available in the context menu. So for example, I'm going to come over to JAWS.
Power Toys Awake. New Quick Note button 3 of 4. JAWS for Windows button 2 of 14. To activate, press space bar.
I can activate this, or I can activate the context menu by using Shift F10 or the application key, whatever my preference is.
App JAWS context menu, option sub menu. To move through items, press up or down arrow O.
And this is just the JAWS context menu. We're not going to worry too much about it. I'm going to hit escape.
Leaving menus, system tray overflow window.
Another thing I'm going to show you is a context menu for a different item, because I want to show you something that you might be asked to do. So I'm going to actually go down one row.
Dymo quick print button 7 of 14. To activate, press space bar.
This is as good of an icon to show you as any to demonstrate this. But if I launch the applications menu here by pressing the applications key or Shift F10.
App context menu, Dymo quick print ... To move through items, press up or down arrow D.
I have a context menu that's more specific to the program that I would need. So I can use my down arrow to find things in this context menu.
Options O. Shortcut key ... S. Start when Windows starts checked S. Exit E. Dymo quick print ... D.
So again, I just kept pressing the down arrow to cycle through the options. I could exit here. That's one way that you can exit a running application, that if you don't know exactly where it is. This is one way, aside from using the task manager, that we will cover in a totally separate video, and that's a totally different program. But this is an important way to know that's available to you to close an open program that's running in the background, that is available in this overflow menu. I'm going to press escape.
Escape.
And I'm going to press escape again.
Is leaving menus. Escape.
So I've left the menus. Now to get out of here, I'm using my arrows and whatever. Now my area has lost focus, and this happens frequently. Again, when you lose focus and you don't know exactly where you are, a really good trick is to do the Windows M, because then you are focused on your desktop, everything is minimized, and you know exactly where you are.
Windows M, Program Manager, Desktop List View, Folder View, List View, Not Selected, Recycle Bin Not Checked, 1 of 36.